Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less. Today, our guest is Tracey Ehman, and she prides herself on providing optimum customer service and continuing to always enhance her education so that she can be on the leading edge. She specializes in helping her clients choose the right keywords to attract their ideal market and offers a number of services that includes training on how to find the right keywords and where they need to be used online in order to increase your visibility, lead generation, and conversion. Welcome, Tracey. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for inviting me.
Truly our pleasure. And before we get into keywords, can you describe a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success?
Wow, that's a great question. And I kind of have a couple. One I wanted to tell about was I actually had breast cancer 8 years ago. And during that time, I was able to triple my business just because I was honest and authentic and told people what to expect or not expect from me during that time. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind is we'll always be authentic, always be yourself, because people want to do business with people and they want to build those relationships. And then the next thing would be as businesses evolve and as you start to see that you're doing something similar for your clients and you can see that pattern, it's a great time to build out a system and build out a done for you product or something along those lines that can help more people at one time versus just a one-on-one type of interaction.
Right. And, I love that you talked about, remember you had breast cancer, that you told people what to expect and not to expect. In breast cancer, you're going through so much and so many doctor's appointments and you're feeling like crap during it all, both, mentally and just worries about the future. So I really commend you even for, continuing to build your business. That shows that regardless what you're going through in life, that you're always a choice on what you're going to do. I mean, you could have laid in bed and watched TV all day and felt sorry for yourself and not worked on your business, but you opted to work on it and say, hey, this is what I'm going through, and it actually tripled your business. So that's really a wonderful story in so many ways.
Thank you.
And to begin with, so with keywords, can you explain, everybody always hears about keywords and they know they need keywords, but why are they so important?
Well, it's funny you say that. People do know about keywords, but they don't necessarily always have an understanding about them. And some people don't know that they need them. They're just not even on their radar. So, to sort of make it easier to understand, when you're searching for something online, and it could be on your phone and it could be on Google, we like to use that phrase, let's just go Google that. You're using keywords. You're using search terms that will help a website get returned to you so that you can, click on it and go find out more information. So keywords are, could be single words, or they can be long-tail keywords, which are a group of words that kind of help you niche down what you're looking for, and you always want to be cognizant of that because you want your potential clients to be searching for the words that you have on your website and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And even whenever determining keywords, how should you determine what keywords that you should be using on your site? Before we go into how to find them, how do you even determine which ones to use?
Well, it's funny, but how to find them kind of goes hand in hand with it. But the first place I always start with is know who your competition and who the people are that are offering complementary services. So basically, they're serving the audience that you want to be in front of. And look at the words that they're using on their website. It's a great place to start sort of cultivating those words to determine if they're the right ones for you. They may not all be the right ones for you because you know what you're offering and what your business is, but they're a great place to start because sometimes it's overwhelming to know where to start.
Right. And the reason that I'd ask that is a lot of people will start using so much of their own lingo, thinking those are great keywords, whenever typically they're not. Can you explain why?
Well, because we know our business inside out and we know what we're offering. But someone that is searching for a solution to a problem or steps to achieve a goal or whatever it might be, they're not using those same terms. They don't know that you're there and that you exist and that you have that specific program that is going to solve all their problems or help them out. So you have to kind of switch gears a little bit and think about, if I was somebody who could benefit from using my services, what would I be searching for if I didn't know that I was here, right? I know it's hard to even phrase that properly, but you understand what I'm getting at there.
Mm-hmm. And that is it. We have to tune in to what our ideal clients are thinking, what words they're using, because we get so into our own lingo. It's like if you go to the doctor, even with your breast cancer, there's probably a word this long to say what type of breast cancer you had, etc. And that's just not everyday language. We use the words breast cancer, so it's what your ideal clients, what they're looking for. It can be tough to tap into that. And I know that whenever you start looking for keywords, one thing that I always have my clients do is just, if they have a program or service, to write down 20 benefits that their ideal client will get, because to me this is a good place to start with the keywords. And so then after they have their list of something, and they've looked at their competitors, what keywords they're using, how else can you go about finding them?
So you can there's a variety of different programs out there, but you can actually create a Google AdWords account and use the keyword planning tool in there, and it'll actually help pull out other keyword combinations that might work for you. I also use something called, it's a paid program called Market Samurai. So I can put in like a 2 or 3 word keyword, and it will create a whole bunch of different options for me. Now, some of them are totally irrelevant, but it gives you a really good idea. And then I always check to see how many people are searching for it. So one of the reasons that my business has evolved the way it has is that, I've had clients who, before I came to them, were getting paying to be number 1 on Google for a search term. And the people that said that they would do that for them definitely delivered. But when I looked at that search term, like, nobody's searching for it, or 10 people a month are searching for it. And it is a numbers game, right? So if people are not using those keywords to search for things, then it really doesn't matter if you're first, because first, when no one else is running the race with you, is really not going to help you much.
Right. Whenever I was a divorce coach, my main message was grieving over divorce, but nobody is going to type in, how do I grieve my divorce? Very few, if any, will ever do that. So it's like, again, stepping into what the people are searching for. So besides the tools that you mentioned, the AdWords planner, and then I forget what you said, which tool you used. There's lots of tools out there you can use. What are some other free ways people can go about searching keywords?
So once again, go to your competitors, because I'm a firm believer that competition is a good thing. Competition means that there's a market for your services out there. Competition means that there's more than enough work for people. There's more than enough clients for all of us, even if we're offering similar services. However, you can go and look at, you can view source code. So viewing source code is when you go to someone's website, and you can do, if you're on a PC, you can do a right click, and you can, or a command. Oh, I'm just getting my, that's
how you do it on a PC. I don't know how you do it on a Mac.
No, and I'm just learning that. But obviously it's not coming to me right now. But anyway, it allows you to go into view source code, and you can see whether people are incorporating keywords and meta information into their websites, because they've put some extra thought into adding that information in. Therefore, you know that those are words that you should be also taking a look at.
Right.
You can also look at other people's social media profiles. What is something that is with the news, for instance, what is standing up right now? I mean, it can be, website security. It might be what you're talking about. So, I mean, there's a lot of information about that because we have, malware and so forth. So depending on what you're offering, you want to look at what other people that are offering, are talking to your audience are putting out there, and then determine if they're the right ones. So there's lots of places you can find them. You can be sourced all over the place.
And so how do you determine how many people are even looking for these words? You have all these lists of words. How do you determine how many people are searching for them?
Well, there's several ways you can do it. Once again, going back to that keyword planner, it gives you a list of how many people per month are searching for those keywords. That you can purchase a number of different other programs that'll give you that information as well. The other thing you can do too is, type those terms into Google and see what you get back. You can see by how many returns are coming back for those keyword terms, how many search returns are coming back, the number, then you know that obviously there's a market out there because a lot of people are doing their marketing to engage people searching for those topics. So that's one way of doing it too. Yeah. Another quick one.
Yeah.
Sorry. When you put in certain search terms in Google, at the very bottom, it'll give you some other suggested searches. So what that tells you is if Google is telling you that you maybe want to look at these search terms, that's a great place for you to pull information. It's a great place to get blog titles because a lot of them might be, how to, 10 steps, whatever it might be, right?
Right. And I know some people, I love that you mentioned great blog post titles. I get a lot of my blog post titles exactly that way. And then I'll also go to Amazon and find books on my subject and look at what their table of contents are for additional information on blog titles and sometimes keywords, but more blog titles or just what to write about to get over that writer's block. And with these, what was I going to say? Oh, a lot of people will think that, well, I can't use somebody else's titles. I can't use somebody else's keywords. Somebody already wrote about 10 tips to blah, blah, blah. So why should I write it?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. They're not trademarked. I mean, even with book titles, right? I have a book that will be coming out. I'm looking in December, right? Called The Silver Lining of Cancer. People will, there might be somebody else that has that title already, but they can't trademark it. I mean, I guess they could trademark. Let's not go there. Let's do it again. But you definitely, you can use another title. You might want to tweak a word or two, just because it just makes it a little bit easier. But there's no reason that you can't use the title. You just want to make sure you're not copying the content. I mean, it has to be information that you're providing. But titles, you have a little bit more leeway to. I still personally would adjust the title a bit, even if it's, just changing the order of some of the words. But I love what you're saying about going to table of contents and books and so forth. Also looking at what people are using in their headings because they think that that's important. So those are great ways of evolving and creating content.
And moving on with the keywords. So you have all of these keywords, and you had mentioned earlier about view source, and you had mentioned the meta, I never say that word right, meta keywords and their title keywords. So where should people be placing their keywords, and what in the hell are meta keywords?
Oh, okay. Let's start with the second question first. So the meta information is what you can actually control, especially if you're using a program like WordPress, because you can add a plugin like Yoast SEO. And what this does is when Google returns a list of websites to go visit, you can see there's a little blurb underneath. There's also the title and the link, right? And you can actually control and customize it. Otherwise, what will happen is it may either have nothing in there, so there's no information on what that website is, or it might take the first 2 lines of your website page. And your homepage, sometimes you're trying to make a statement, but it's not necessarily, doesn't have any explanation in it, maybe a quote or something, right? Which is not going to necessarily get people to click on it. So meta information is something that you can control. There is the meta title, like you said. You've got your keywords that you can put in, and then you can put in a nice little description that incorporates some of the keywords into it as well. So people know that what is coming back, you are actually a website that they want to click on. Now, the first question you had for me, where do you use keywords? Everywhere. Okay. I mean, it's true. You want to use them in all of your social media profiles. You want to use them and when you are posting. So you have a great blog post with an awesome title on your website. You want to share that out on social media. Don't just put the link on and click send. You want to actually preface it. Why do they want to click on it? And that's a great place to use keywords too. And don't overkill. So, pick maybe 1 or 2 keywords per post versus going crazy. Unless you're using Instagram. And Instagram, it's definitely more acceptable to have a lot more hashtags that are usually keywords as well.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I was wanting to add, that Instagram has the hashtags with your keywords. But also it's really important to realize that all of the social media platforms, you can search with them. And people are searching the same keywords in these social media platforms that they're searching on Google. And then I wanted to tap on Pinterest real quick. A lot of people like creating these cute little Pinterest board names. And the cute names, nobody knows but you. So therefore, you need the keywords in your board names for better visibility on Pinterest. So I wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, it's so important. You have to think about, you want to build awareness about who you are and what your business offers. So the cutesy stuff is great if it's just a personal profile. But if you're trying to attract business, trying to figure out what kind of business you're going to attract. It may not be what you think it is, so you got to be really careful.
And I know even before with me, with like in Pinterest, I had some, like one of my boards was called blog posts. Well, who in the hell cares about blog posts, right? It's because it was whenever I first created it years ago. So whenever I recreated a new Pinterest for the visibility, I was more conscious of what I was naming my boards, because nobody is going to go into Google or Pinterest or anywhere else and type in blog posts.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And it's interesting because Pinterest has sort of been there for quite a long time, but it depends. A lot of people go there to find, how-tos and, for crafts and recipes and so forth. But more recently, I've noticed with some of my clients that they're getting pingbacks from, blog posts or things that they've shared from their website that were put up like 5 years ago. So it's a powerful platform that I think that we need to explore. I know I need to explore even more so now, because it's
years ago when I first started being interested in Pinterest. I had read something, I don't remember the exact code. I think it's Pinterest.com, then like maybe it's a semicolon, and then your name. And because this article I had read said, regardless if you're on Pinterest or not, you're probably there because other people have probably shared your stuff there. And before I'd even started my presence there, I had found over 100 things on Pinterest of mine that I didn't post, other people posted. And I was really shocked. I was like, wow. So even though you may not be on there yourself, people are still sharing your stuff. So you want to make sure you have the right keywords on there that you're going to be found.
That's right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so what else about keywords here? We've talked about what they're. You mentioned really briefly long-tail keywords. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what a long-tail keyword is and why they are so important? And then again, where they're best served at?
Definitely. So long-tail keywords are a combination of words. So, 4 to 6 words in a row. And what that means is that you're actually kind of niching down your search. So example would be, you could put in life coach. But if you live in Virginia, then Longtail would be, life coach in Virginia, right? So you're basically starting to weed out all of the information that's coming to you, because there's probably almost 1 million life coach returns that would come back. So you want to be more specific to what it is that you're looking for. Maybe it's a money mindset coach, right? So definitely the more words that you put in, the more you're going to be able to actually niche down the results that you're going to come back to, and the more likely that what you're going to click on as somebody who's searching would be the right person for you. Now, I would use those in your blog posts. If you have on certain pages, so say your resource page, and you had, you could have like a subtitle or a section, right? So there's different places that you could use them, but they definitely, it's a great thing to do, because if you are, everybody's competing for life coach,
right?
The chances you're going to show up on the first couple of pages are probably not that likely, unless you're putting a lot of money into advertising. But if it's life coach in your particular area, then you're way more likely to show up, because they'll return local search terms for you.
Exactly. And you can even add things depending upon what you are. Like, I was a certified divorce coach, and I also deemed myself as a compassionate divorce coach, which I ranked high at one time with those keywords. So you can even think what makes you unique in your industry, and add that, because there will be people that are looking for it, which is interesting what some people look for. And whenever you're doing the long key tail words also, you're not, I said that wrong, long tail keywords. Whenever you're looking for them, even though you might say life coach, Virginia, that's good, but know that you're still up there for life coach. I mean, it's not just going to take the whole entire phrase. Google will intermix the words in this phrase for different ways that people look for them.
That's true. And a lot of us, some people go, oh, I don't want to niche down. I don't want to make my target market small. But the thing is that if you can be very succinct in that target market, it's not going to stop, like you said, it's not going to stop other people from finding you as well. But it's going to get your ideal client, that you're doing your marketing to attract your ideal client. And then the overflow will be amazing, because a lot of it will come from referral from that ideal client where you guys just, totally clicked.
Exactly. I like to relate your ideal client to, my husband is an avid bass fisherman, and I never realized that there was such a skill to fishing for bass. And there's special lures, and you're actually a lot more active. You're going out there, there's wrist movement, there's the way that you're reeling it in. There's just so much to it. I was blown away, because all the fishermen in my family, they were just, hey, let's throw the line out there and see what we catch, and sit there and drink a beer, right?
Right.
And so I was very interested in what bass fishermen do. They actually narrow it down, but it doesn't mean that they don't catch other types of fish.
Right. Yeah,
exactly. And so it's really, that's what you're doing with the long tail keywords, or with narrowing your niche down. You're making it easier for your ideal clients, your ideal fish to find you. Then other people are still going to find you, but it's making it so much easier for those that you're meant to serve.
Definitely. I agree.
Yes. And I'm trying to think, you research what keywords you want to use. You need to know your niche. We covered the meta and the titles, social media. What else can you share with us about keywords? Anything come to your mind? Did we miss anything?
When you're talking about Amazon and book titles, consider that when you're naming your book. Consider that when if you're listening to this podcast right now and you haven't purchased your domain name, do a little bit of research before you grab that domain name, unless you're using, your name itself. That's one thing. But if you're looking at, creating a title for your business, there's so many places where keywords come into play, and it really is just being really aware of the audience that you're trying to attract. And it may be that niche audience that you're trying to attract, at least initially.
Okay. And Tracey, can you share a strategy with our listeners that they can implement in 15 minutes or less to grow their business?
Yes, so I would suggest using the power of Google Plus to share out your blog post. You don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel for this one. You can use, a similar blurb that you would post on Twitter or Facebook, but post it in Google Plus because Google loves Google, and it's amazing how quickly you will start to show up for those particular keywords you're trying to optimize for when you use Google Plus. So I would say 15 minutes a day. Maybe even just every other day, go post an old blog post on there or share out something and allow people to find that information. I test it out probably every 6 months. I'm a firm believer in doing it. I just never get around to doing a lot of the stuff for myself.
Right. Yeah.
But when I do it, I will not show up on the first page or maybe 3 or 4 pages for those particular search term, and yet within 24 to 48 hours I'm on the first page with my Google Plus post.
Right.
So it helps to build awareness.
And with you, if you're on Google Plus or if you're new and you don't have any followers, does it still work just as good?
It does, because Google's still reading it. Obviously, with everything.
Google loves Google.
Right? I know. I always say that, but it's so true. And on that note, YouTube, right? When you're posting YouTube videos, like put a title on it that tells people what it is they're going to get. Don't put the cutesy title, because the cutesy title is not going to attract who you want. And make sure that that information or that opportunity to add the tags and a description that has your keywords in it too. Like I said, keywords are everywhere.
Even just as an example of what you just said, it's so important. I mean, the name of my podcast is Biz Success in 15. So the Biz Success is definitely like good keywords, right? And the in 15 is because I have people share the 15-minute strategies. But if I sat there and titled, because all of these go on YouTube, if I just sat there and put Biz Success in 15, I'm not doing really that good. So what I do is I title each of my podcasts, like this one will probably be, increase your SEO with keywords, and with Tracey Ehman, and that will probably be the title of this episode. And then that's what people are searching for, because I will throw in these keywords, SEO keywords as a keyword. And this is how you start building more traction on YouTube. And then I'm sure even with your Google Plus thing, if you throw your YouTube, because YouTube is owned by Google, if you throw your YouTube post onto Google Plus, it's probably going to increase the rankings there too.
Yeah, exactly. I know there's so many things that you can do, but just get started and look at maybe how you got things titled on your website and what you're putting out there in social media, and think about whether what you're putting out there is going to attract your ideal client.
Right. Yes. And I love you, and I love that you went into this niche, Tracey. I really do, because not too many people are out there sharing exactly how to do. You're always hearing, hire me, and I'll get you on first page. But there's really not too many people that are really passionate about it like you, and that really care to teach people how to do it correctly. So I commend you for that. And I know that you have a wonderful gift for our listeners. Can you share what that is?
I do. I have a report that you can access at keywordmarketingsecrets.com. And it takes some of what we talked about today and provides you with examples so that, sometimes when we're talking about it, having that visual aspect makes it so much easier to see how you can utilize keywords to be found online, and gives you those examples and definitions that we talked about today. So.
Right. And it's great. So you want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/TE, lowercase, T as in Tracey, as in Ehman, bizsuccessin15.com TE, and grab your gift of the Keyword Marketing Secrets. You'll be glad you did. And if you're curious about SEO, you don't need to spend thousands of dollars on somebody. Tracey gives you all the basics of what you need to get ranked in Google. And also, you'll be able to re-listen to Tracey's words of wisdom and download this episode so you can listen to it anytime that you want. Tracey, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
No, I really happy that you invited me to be on this podcast with you. I love what you're doing. Visibility is so important to all of us who are entrepreneurs and trying to get the message out about what we offer and how we can help others. So thank you so much for putting this together.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Tracey. I appreciate that. And thank you for being my guest today and sharing all your words of wisdom. It's truly been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends. You know, anybody that is online needs to know more about SEO and keywords and how to increase their visibility. And hop on over to bizsuccessin15.com/TE, where you're going to find any links mentioned on today's show. You can download the show, re-listen to it at your convenience, catch up on past episodes that you might have missed from other top experts. And while you're there, be sure to grab your gift from Tracey, the Keyword Marketing Secrets. Big hugs. Be sure to tune in next week for another great episode. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.